Hey everybody, I'm Emily with Heirloom Fire, and today we'd like to welcome you to the kitchen garden. This is our third season gardening in this space, and so while we still have some work to do, we've definitely come a long way. We work with a lot of really great farmers locally for the most amazing produce, but part of being really good chefs is also understanding how things grow and what makes them taste really good. So we use this space for more of an R&D sort of thing. So we try to see, what parts can we actually use from the vegetables that we normally wouldn't, and to see how things would better go together and when things are really ready. So this bed might look a little familiar. We just did a video about tomato volunteers. You'll see we still have a couple in here. So this is our herb bed. We're getting to the point where I think we need a separate garden just for herbs. So we have sage here, which is really beautiful, fragrant, just smells delicious when you touch it. So this we use in a lot of our sausages, in with our potatoes and all different things. We also have here chives, which aren't looking their best right now. They look most beautiful when their little purple blossoms are out. We have a little more sage back here. We try to do it in a sort of pattern so it looks pretty while it's growing. We also have some rosemary, which we just added this year, and we have the oregano, which is very happy where it is. And then you can see, if you want to come a little closer, some tomato volunteers that are actually doing really well. I mean, you can see these here are even flowering, which is really exciting. Bronze fennel. I actually only added this to the garden simply because it's beautiful. Here we have some red curry winter squash. This is definitely one of our favorite of the winter squashes, not only because it's absolutely beautiful with this gorgeous orange color, but that it's really delicious and it's really nutty. It's not your average fall squash, we would say. Several different types of potatoes here. I honestly don't remember what we planted. It's our first time planting potatoes. Definitely an experiment for sure. They have been flowering for a little while now, and the greens will start to die back, and that's their way of letting us know that they're ready to be harvested. So waiting for a sign. We also have here kale. We love kale. It's used in a lot of our dishes on site. We have some really good fresh herbs in here too. So we also have a lot of parsley, which is starting to flower, and our dill is starting to flower as well. This definitely was a little bit crammed in here, but that happens when you just try to fit a lot into a small space. We'll be able to fix that. So we also have here some cosmos and zinnias and china asters because it's important to also grow some flowers and not just food. And then we also have here, in this space, we have calendula. And this makes a really nice salve for dry hands, which you can imagine, folks working with fire, it happens a lot. I didn't even plant these this year. These are self-seeded from last year. Bush beans we've put in, and then we have zucchini and summer squash growing as well. Most of you probably know how to grow zucchini and summer squash, but what you also see here is we have, thank you, Charles. We have more volunteer tomatoes. Our strawberry patch, we have some chamomile as well here. We also have garlic that we're getting ready to harvest. I'm sure you saw the video where James took all the scapes except for this one here and incorporate them into a potato dish. So if you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. So we'll be getting ready to harvest this and let it cure for a couple of days so it can really get dried before we store it. So we also have here some purple shell peas. On the other side, we have green snap peas. So the snap peas are just about done. Not many of them actually got incorporated into any dishes because most of them were eaten while we were working in the garden. But the shell peas, I'll actually open one up for you so you can take a look because they're really beautiful. So you have this dark purple pod, and then once you open the pod up, it's actually beautiful green, full peas inside this dark purple pod. They're really good. We actually eat these in the garden too while we work. Next to the garlic, we also have more cut flowers, of course. We have more cosmos, zinnias, and this is a lot of what James is very passionate about, using things that you have around you. And it's not necessarily just what you put in the ground on purpose. And you'll see here, we actually have wild spinach. So this is edible, which is really cool. So this you could incorporate and utilize it just as regular spinach. And you'll notice it has this sort of waxy kind of coating on the underside of the leaves. Purslane here, and this is a consistent battle in this garden. We would really suggest that you eat it fresh, just add it to a salad. Then our favorite part of the garden, tomatoes. Not that many that we planted on purpose. because we knew there would be a ton of volunteers. So we didn't want an entire garden of tomatoes, and that is exactly what we got. We have a ton of different varieties. We're probably most excited this year for the Mortgage Lifter. So that one produces an immense amount of tomatoes, and that's actually how farmers would make their money, was just on this specific variety of tomato. Of course, growing with our tomatoes, a couple different basil, and our tomatoes, I mean, they've just been loving the weather. In with the carrots, of course, more volunteer tomatoes, and we do have some different lettuces growing in here. In this space, we plant things that we know we're going to harvest within the season, pull them, add in more nutrients, and then put something else back in the ground. So when we pull these carrots, we're probably going to put in some turnip that hopefully will carry us into the fall and really work on getting some tap roots down in the soil. So let's take a look to see actually what one of these carrots looks like while we're here. Little Finger is the variety, although it's probably about the size of a finger. So these are going to be really delicious. And then don't forget your carrot tops, you can use those, and we have used a bunch already, and we've made them into a pesto, which is really nice. So this will be delicious to have. I think I'll take this with me. More lettuces, more kale, just more of the same because we just use so much of it. And we actually have a rogue celery over here. So this was celery that we bought at the store and then tried the method of cutting it all the way down, starting some roots in the water, and then putting it in the ground. And we actually have some celery. So that was a fun experiment. I didn't plant these. So last year we had some sunflowers in this bed, but not a tall variety at all. We started recognizing that we were having sunflowers popping up all over the place, so we decided to keep them. Probably because I left the seed heads for the birds last year, and I thought they would have eaten every last seed, but I guess they didn't. We also have sweet peas just because they're gorgeous and they smell delicious. What we also have here, which is exciting, is muskmelons. And I've never grown these before, so I'm curious to see how they do. We have a ton of flowers, which is really exciting. We do need to actually get some supports up here, so that's a project for today. So in the outer perimeter of the space, we have 8-row flint corn. And what that is, it's a corn that we've grown specifically for drying. It makes apparently delicious polenta, and we're gonna find out. We also have in the outer perimeter, you can see we have mullein. And this is this really large plant with these yellow blossoms at the top. The birds absolutely love it. Although we didn't put it there on purpose, and maybe we're getting a couple less ears of corn out of it, it's really beneficial to embrace plants like that because they're native to the area, which means they grow well here, and they support local wildlife, which always needs all the help we can give. So this has been our tour for today. We hope that you liked it. We would love to see what you're growing in your gardens. We know that this was a really weird year, so hopefully a lot of you had time to get your hands in the dirt as well. And if you haven't and you still want to, you have time. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.